And while the government is, keeping our wages paid and everything like that, like, why not just sit this thing out and be sensible, right? Good morning. It is day 6 of these daily lockdown vlogs. I'm doing them just, to document how weird and different life is at the moment, and also to, keep people company that might need it. Yesterday's video was, a bit of fun, drinking wine and talking about what I watch, just, just stuff that I watch to make me feel good. And I thought that, because the purpose of these videos is to document what things are like at the moment, today I'm going to review some of the news headlines, chat about them a little bit. So I'm doing these days like in lieu. So this will go out tomorrow. So these will be the news stories relevant as of day 6 of the lockdown, Sunday the 29th of March. The death toll in the UK has reached 1,228 people, which was a daily increase of 206 people, down from the day before, which was 260. Now, I don't think that's a trend that we should probably expect to get used to. Like, I don't imagine that the 260 was the peak. It's terrible that, now we're at a point where we might all feel safe in our homes, but the reality is hundreds of people are dying every day, and they have been 4 days. And that's a really scary thought. And I know that, when we went to the shops the other day, that you saw on, I think, what was it, day 4, I guess, that video. I was very nervous in the supermarket, thinking about those kind of numbers and thinking about how contagious this is, and how, no one was really giving each other a wide berth. And it does make you nervous, And the reality of this on the ground for the healthcare service is just, can't even imagine it, right? So that brings the total cases in the UK to just shy of 20,000, I think. I think it's like 19,500 so far. Like 20,000 people. You just think, like, I wonder how long those 20,000 people have been in isolation before they got tested, how many other people they crossed paths with, how many other people they could have given it to. That's 20,000 people. I'm sure that there's a lot of overlap there. Like, a lot of those people probably got it from someone who was already, like, maybe being treated for it, already knew that they had it. But it's quite a terrifying number. I really don't, off the top of my head, know how that compares to other countries, like how our total number of people that have it compares in terms of, like, our rankings globally. Maybe that's something that I can find for another time I discuss the news. But, I was talking to you the other day about how the NHS was calling for volunteers to help out. Well, they got 750,000, like over 750,000 so far. So that's, like, insane. I think now they're, like, spinning up, trying to get this program in place. Now that they've got the volunteers, it's a matter of, like, figuring out the best logistics for getting those people on the ground. Ben being one of them, obviously. But yeah, the original target was 250,000. So the fact that 750,000 people have volunteered is incredible. And I know that a lot of companies whose workers have been furloughed, they've been encouraged to, to volunteer and stuff like that, which is really, really great. And yeah, it just restores your faith in people, right? Like, 750,000 people. I'm sure that by the end of this, that'll mean that over 1 million people in the country volunteered to help the NHS, which is just fantastic. I've seen, maybe I'll be able to put it up or something, but I've seen some pictures of NHS Nightingale, the temporary hospital I was telling you I saw a video about the other day, and it's just so surreal, right? Seeing, it's like something from a movie. I think part of what also makes it surreal is that, like, let me adjust myself here. It's not really changing day-to-day life for a lot of people, short of the fact that I have to stay in the house. Like, you don't see it, so it's almost like it's almost invisible to you. Do you know what I mean? Being able to, like, volunteer and read the news and stuff like that, it's all stuff that's happening somewhere else, and you just stay in your house, in your cozy house with your internet and your infinite hours of entertainment on, like, Netflix and Amazon and whatever. I think surreal is the only word, right? Really surreal. And it's also been announced in the news that it could be 6 months before the UK returns to like normal, which I'm sure like will only be close to normal. Things will still be very different, but you're also seeing rumours and stuff as well that the lockdown measures could be extended into June, but that's just rumours. I mean, some of the things I've mentioned so far, I'll source down in the description. It's articles from, well, the thing is, a lot of news sites are regurgitating all the same information because the government's giving it out. But the ones I've been reading are Metro. But yeah, I think it was the, what was it? Deputy Chief Medical Officer said that it could be at least 6 months before things go back to normal, and that 3-week time limit on the full lockdown is a moving target. They haven't amended it yet, so it's still on a 3-week timeline, but it's hard to picture that we will be able to freely leave the house and explore the world in 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? Like, this furlough thing for businesses closing down and everything was for it was for April and May, I think. So businesses are going to take them up on it, right? Like, so a lot of these places will be closed for April and May. What's there going to be to do out in the world? Like, and you see a lot of news stories as well talking about how if everyone's back out into the world too quick, like it could just cause a second spread. So it seems like, you know, when people have been saying stuff like, oh, it's ridiculous, oh, it's, you know, overreacting, I'm like, well, the safest thing to do is to overreact, right? Because then that's how you can be sure. Like, the only way to be sure is to overreact and to overcompensate, because then it's a guarantee, right? And while the government is, you know, keeping our wages paid and everything like that, like, why not just sit this thing out and be sensible, right? Which is easy for me to say, you know, from the comfort of my home, whatever, but looking forward is a little bit anxiety inducing, because you can't get a slot booked for the shopping. So they've said that there's anticipating that numbers will get worse over the next week and maybe the week after that, and then they're expecting to see a decline. But I really wouldn't want them to act too soon. Being indoors all the time isn't a horrible torture, especially if it means that it's going to make everything safer, right? Plus, it means that I just get to keep grazing, because I don't have to get a summer body ready. You know, there's no holidays on the horizon or anything like that. Pride season is basically cancelled. I'm not going to, you know, they've all been pushed back into later in the year. So I don't think I'll be having beers in the park in a vest this year. But, yeah, I've decided that what I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing is, you know, like working on some bits and bobs that I've got. So I'm probably not going to be doing anything more for today's video other than this. But as I did warn you early on, not all of them are going to be gems. And then tomorrow, I'm planning on doing some baking. So that'll be a nice little video as well. I still need to edit the baking I did before with the the frozen cupcakes, which was fun and they tasted terrible. But spoilers. So stay safe, stay healthy. And if you haven't yet, then, you know, you can watch the series from the beginning on my channel. And, yeah, see you tomorrow.